The Wizarding World has introduced us to so many amazing characters through the years that meeting a new cast in Hogwarts Legacy was a bit scary, but I'm here to tell you that there are so many great interactions in the game that I wanted to make a top 10 list of my favorite characters. There are some interesting characters on the list, so make sure you stick around, and just remember this is my personal list and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Number 10, starting off strong with Poppy Sweeting. Poppy is the Hufflepuff companion, and many of you might be upset that she's this low, but you don't really interact with Poppy no matter what house you choose until about the 10-hour mark in the game. I never felt like I was truly connected with her, and I was wrong, she's not evil, but there's not much depth in her character other than her sticking up for her fantastic beasts. Her missions felt very go to this place, take out this enemy, and come back to unlock something, but there weren't very many of them. The only reason she's on my top 10 list is because I enjoyed her missions, although they felt very video gamey. Number 9, Matilda Weasley. Professor Weasley is our Transfiguration professor and one of the most important characters in the game. She's the deputy headmistress and honestly a better leader than Phineas Nigellus Black could ever imagine to be. They do fit perfectly together though, with Professor Black's gruff demeanor and Professor Weasley's more kind, light-hearted tone. She is almost an exact representation of Professor McGonagall from the Harry Potter series, other than the fact that she isn't an animagus that I'm aware of. After arriving at Hogwarts, she is essentially your guide at the beginning of the game, giving you your field guide book that houses all your gear, traits, and menus. My only knock on Professor Weasley is that we don't see her very much in the game. I wish, much like many characters on this list, that she was a bit more fleshed out and we spent more time actually interacting with her, but unfortunately, we didn't. She has a very powerful moment at the end of the game where Professor Black is struggling to give a speech after certain unfortunate circumstances. She steps in and absolutely nails what needs to be said. If they make a sequel to the game in this time period, I hope we get to see more of her and take a few more classes of hers. Number 8, Fastidio. For those of you who have no idea who I'm talking about, this is the poltergeist from the PlayStation exclusive Haunted Hogsmeade quest. Despite only seeing the character for maybe 45 minutes and totally playing a trick on them at the end of the mission, Fastidio was one of the best written characters in the game, and the Haunted Hogsmeade quest is also one of the best missions in the game. Without spoiling anything for those of you who can't play the mission until next year, the quest was very horror based, hearing Fastidio say things to you while you were in the dark with mannequins running after you. It felt like Avalanche really went for it in this mission, and when they go for it in the story and side missions, the writing is unmatched. The writing of Fastidio and the actor that voices him absolutely nailed the role, and without a doubt, if we had more time with this trickster, he would be higher on my list, but just based off the sheer amount of time that we spent with him, he has to be down lower than I want him to be. Number 7, Solomon Sallow. One of the most controversial characters in the game, being devastatingly mean to Sebastian and overly protective of Anne, I actually felt for Solomon. The older I get and the further into adulthood I go, I understand this protective nature over other people. Solomon was just trying to make the hard decisions based on what he thought was right, but at the same time he was being pretty aggressive. He didn't deserve what he got through my playthrough, but maybe if you pick different choices it could end differently. I think he was a decently fleshed out character and filled his role perfectly. Number 6, the Headmaster, Phineas Nigellus Black. Headmaster Black is a very forgettable character, but seems to redeem himself in the final mission. Tragedy strikes Hogwarts, and during the final speech in the Great Hall, you see he's more than just a shell of a character. Based on having Simon Pegg being the voice actor, and them having a whole trailer for just Professor Black, I thought he would be more present in the story. He does have one of the funniest missions in the game when your character turns into him using Polyjuice Potion, running around the school causing mayhem. I feel like a broken record with some of these characters, but I truly wish I got to spend more time with him throughout the story. Number 5, Professor Abraham Ronen. Professor Ronen was probably my favorite teacher at Hogwarts, and this is mainly because he breaks the stereotypical mold of being a Slytherin. He is fun, lighthearted, jovial, and puts an interesting spin on teaching. He presented us the game of Summoner's Court, which in my opinion was one of the best parts of Hogwarts Legacy. I had a blast playing all 5 missions, and the minigame ended up with me beating Professor Ronen in the final battle. Besides Summoner's Court, he really isn't present in the story other than through the final mission where we see him fighting or dueling in a cutscene. Number 4, Professor Eleazar Fig, Hogwarts Legacy's one true companion. We see a lot of Professor Fig through the marketing materials and also through the main story of the game. He's a kind, light-hearted character that has dealt with loss and is determined to find out the secrets that his late wife was searching for. It's a gripping premise that helps move the story along, but we didn't see much of him outside the main missions, and I didn't feel like I had the emotions for him that Avalanche wanted me to have. Without completely spoiling the end of the game, he is a crucial part throughout the whole main story, and I really enjoyed the time I did get to spend with him. Number 3, Ominis Gaunt. Despite there being 3 companions in the game, I felt like Ominis might have been the actual second companion right behind Sebastian. I felt like I had more conversations with him than Natsai or Poppy, and I truly connected with a lot of things he had to say. He only had one true friend, that was Sebastian, and although they felt like family, he was just trying to make sure he kept a good relationship with them and nothing happened to Anne and Sebastian. The whole time I was talking to Ominis though, I was really confused as I wasn't sure if he was blind or not because his eyes were glossed over and he never actually looked at the main character. He was always looking down, and despite this being a bit odd, he was an amazing character that I loved interacting with. Number 2, Natsai Onai. Despite Sebastian being the most well-written character, I seem to connect with Natsai's story more. I wish we got to see her more or that she was a little bit more well-written, but the basis of her story being the loss of her father is something I can truly connect with. It's hard feeling like you were to blame for someone's death or wishing you could have one last conversation with that person you lost. She has a good redemption arc on her final mission with some key realizations that her father's death wasn't her fault. Her quests were some of my favorite despite being side missions, and any opportunity I had to bring her along with me, I did. It was just a bit disheartening that Sebastian was so well written and Natsai felt like she got the short end of the stick. Number 1, the best character in Hogwarts Legacy, Sebastian Sallow. Other than Professor Fig, Sebastian was the most shown character through the marketing materials, as we knew months in advance that his side quests would teach us at least one of the unforgivable curses, Crucio. We come to find out that we can actually learn all 3 from him, and Sebastian is possibly the most fleshed out, well-written character in the whole game. His story was more interesting to me than the main story, as he is dealing with the loss of his parents, living with his uncle who doesn't necessarily like him, and his sister is suffering from some sort of curse. He's determined to fix her no matter what it takes, and he pays the consequences for his actions. Even with him being the most well-written character, and I know I've said that a few times, I seem to dislike Sebastian as he took things even farther than I would take them, even for a video game, but I can't knock him for it because he was so well written and such a fleshed out character. With that being said, that's my list of top 10 characters in Hogwarts Legacy. There are so many in the game that I wish I got to spend more time with, and there are more ranking list videos to come, but if you can't wait that long, come hang out with me in these other Hogwarts Legacy videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.